Team Dynamo is considered by many to be the team to beat, having traveled over 5,000 miles from their home country, Japan. A country notorious for having the most competitive Splatoon scene. Here they ranked as some of the most intense, fierce, and focused Splatoon players alive today. Atuburu is known to wield the Cherry H3 nozzle nose and regularly has over 20 kills in matches.
Well, naturally.
Wakaroon's go-to is the E-Leader 3K. Most importantly, though, he once hit S+99 for over 2 hours straight. Just so everyone's clear, that's crazy.
It was rough, but we were able to continue the score counter until we won for 2 hours.
Kakashino, a slosher weapon expert and Piranha Pit stage lover, is here to win and find the perfect hamburger. Really? Hamburger?
I want to win, but I also want to eat hamburgers. I'm not going to lose.
Well, good luck with finding that hamburger.
Thanks, narrator.
And last but not least, an unexpected secret weapon, a new addition to the team. Only a short while ago, this player was Team D's rival. They wanted nothing more than to splat him into oblivion. But with everything on the line, they had to recruit the best of the best of the best of the best. Dynamo is named after his masterful work with the Dynamo roller. Using it to roll over the competition, Dynamo claims to be unbeatable with the, of course, Dynamo roller. Geez, this guy really loves the roller. We get it. You're the roller guy. With their top recruit in place, Team Japan will need to band together quickly if they really want to splat their way to Splatoon glory. One thing's for sure, all eyes will be on Dynamo.
Oh, what a look right there. And Dynamo, no coincidence that they have a player named Dynamon. How did that work together as far as the naming of this team?
Yeah, the team was named after Dynamon because they were so impressed with his play, and now he plays on that team, which is really cool. It's like what a great small world. It's a really tight community of Splatoon players all around the world, and so I think it's really neat that sort of they started being inspired by his play, and now he's part of the team.
Dynamo, the #1 seed after round robin play, taking on Rising Moon, the 4th seed after round robin play. And Eric, we're getting set for tower control, our first sort of ranked match if you're familiar with the original Splatoon. How is tower control this different this time around in Splatoon 2?
So Splatoon players will know that tower control starts with a tower in the middle of the map. Players get on that and ride it into enemy territory. This time, on the way to your goal, you'll actually have to stop at checkpoints for a number of seconds, giving the opponent a time to catch up and splat you off of that tower.
Here's the schedule for the matchups in this best-of-5 between Rising Moon and Dynamo. They'll start with tower control, then they'll splat some zones. We'll make it rain with the Rainmaker, and a Game 4 if necessary, Turf 4. Game 5 if necessary, we'll go to Rainmaker. I know everyone here would love to see this go 5 rounds. We can't get enough of this Splatoon action. So it looks like the teams are getting set. This is going to be tower control on Moray Towers. We explained earlier, Moray Towers now has some rails to help with accessibility. Going to be interesting, Ashley, how some of these new sub-weapons might come into play with tower control.
Yeah, I mean, that Toxic Mist is going to be key here. It's going to be key here because it's going to slow people down, it's going to take their ink away, and it's going to hopefully help them take back a tower if it's not in control by them.
Dynamo in the yellow, Rising Moon in the purple, as Dynamo making the first approach to the tower. Nobody riding it quite yet. We see 3 sets of the Toxic Mist, and Ashley, these players were loving the Toxic Mist, especially in tower control during that open period. They got to practice.
Absolutely. Being able to slow your opponent down and also take ink out of their tank is such a big deal, especially when ink management can become a real problem if you find yourself caught with an empty to take.
Dynamon riding the tower, initially getting to that first checkpoint. It's got to sit there now, and you have to hold back Rising Moon. You see the counter on top of the timer, 10 seconds left. What's also important, though, Ashley, is as that timer goes down at a checkpoint, that's improving your score. And we see Dynamon just with a couple of fantastic splats holding down the fort.
Absolutely. And you know, if you stop on one of those checkpoints, if a teammate jumps on, that timer goes down faster. So if you see Dynamon adding another teammate to the tower, it's because they want to get that checkpoint countdown finished as quickly as possible.
Dynamon dominating the tower, getting splats, hopping off, gets another splat, gonna hop on top. The tower starting to automatically move back. Dynamon being patient, trying to get the splat on Seibu, but Seibu gonna put an end to the terror caused by Dynamon as the tower starting to return back to neutral. Let's do a little housekeeping here. We've got a charger, 2 blasters, and a splatter shot for Rising Moon. Meanwhile, for Dynamon, you've got a blaster, slosher, and a charger to go along with another roller.
Yeah, I think this is a good setup for both teams. Obviously, you're going to want to have chargers in this map. You absolutely need to be able to pick off a person on top of that tower. Those squids have got to be pulled off that tower as quickly as possible by bomb, by charger, by any means. You take them off that tower.
And one thing I didn't mention is that when you stop at a checkpoint, once you clear that checkpoint, you don't have to go through it again.
Very important to notice right there, Eric. Meanwhile, Dynamon is the designated tower control expert for Dynamon, riding that tower, trying to get the splat on Andy, but no!
Wow.
Andy's gonna put an end to that movement right there. You gotta pay the toll on the tower, and Andy's the one taking collection.
Dynamon pays the price, and the tower heads back to the center of the map. This is really interesting. You're seeing a couple of players actually do a little bit of forward scouting. They're putting down some ink. They're kind of helping out their teammates. When the tower gets to those new areas, they're able to kind of swim around and actually have some mobility well in advance of actually arriving there.
2:27 left in this one. Dynamon with the dominant 9-100 lead at this point. Rising
so much toxic mist.
That toxic mist. Tower comes to a screeching halt as Dynamon has to hop off. They lose the tower. 4-4 on the field. Rising Moon is yet to ride the tower as Binks with a nice little pachink right there, but then that's going to be a splat by Dynamon. Dynamon backing up, and Kakashino going to provide some support with that slosher. However, going to get splatted by Andy. Once again, excuse me, Inky with that splat. Give credit where it's due. Meanwhile, Wakaruno going to get the splat on the spawn.
just waiting for that beacon. And you know, Ninja Jump, not here. And so that makes it really easy for any charger user to just wait.
You mentioned that no stealth jump. That was such an important aspect of the meta going into this in the original Splatoon, not in this particular build for tournament play. So teams adjusting for that. We see some more toxic mist being deployed that's going to slow you down, reduce your ink in your tank. However, we see a lot of carnage go on by the tower right there as it goes back. 2-2 on the field right now as Rising Moon still yet to get on the board here, Ashley.
Yeah, this is the time. I mean, they've got about a minute and a half. They can make something happen. One of the things that I'm noticing, a lot of the higher level players, they're using the rails. They're claiming the rails, but maybe not using them.
Avalado going under the Stingray and popping up and getting the splat. And that's
unreal.
We see from these players just how well they can.
So much mobility. I mean, just the jumping, there's sniping, there's dynamo rolling. I mean, it's just they're popping out and making these absolutely incredible moves.
Dynamon all over that tower, though, getting a critical splat, starting to ride it. Has a Stingray charged up as well, too. Just sloshing all sorts of ink.
He's in a very good position right now.
With the roller. Meanwhile, Andy trying to get a charge on Dynamon. Going to be a little too late. That's a critical splat for Dynamon. Tower at 5 at this point. Can Dynamon get on top of it? And yes, they'll get it with the knockout. And there's not much to break down from this one. Dynamon doing a fine job of riding the tower, but the rest of Dynamon providing that support, because we never really saw 3-4 players from Rising Moon able to get to the tower here, Ashley.
Yeah, you could see using those ink rails really came in handy. They were able to kind of move around the map, get behind Rising Moon, figure out how they could cut off all of those avenues, and also deny Rising Moon from moving forward when they did have the tower.
Yeah, absolutely. Dynamon himself was, on the tower, getting a lot of splats, but his teammate was actually out in front, making sure the path was clear. So
clearing the way.
Yeah. And it really came down to that pivotal point towards the end of the match. We saw Dynamon really take over the tower when it was close to the middle, and then able to ride it. And you mentioned some of the roles the support players do to help that tower get to the goal here, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see a lot of high-level players have somebody, like you were saying, kind of paving the way forward. It's always possible you'd have somebody with a more short-range weapon on top of the tower. So obviously, Dynamon is a perfect person for tower control to be on there. But then you want somebody with maybe a mid-range weapon or a slosher or something that's going to be able to do a lot of damage very quickly to take out those chargers. I mean, Andy was really doing a great job defending there for a while.
We just saw that instant replay, and our wonderful production crew, we're going to try and roll that up for you again, because this match was truly decided by that fantastic play by Dynamon at the end. And right here, Dynamon on top of the tower, Eric. And usually when you're at the tower, you're this close, you want to ride it to victory. But Dynamon hopping up and getting the splat mid-air with the flick, and that was all it needed to close this one out.
Yeah, especially they were already in the lead. You saw at that point they had pushed it to about 9, so they were like 9 units away from the goal. They just needed to play defensively because they're up. Their opponent didn't actually push the tower at all. I mean, they were still at 100. So whoever has the lower score there, even if they don't get the knockout, if time expires, whoever has that lowest score is going to win.
Well, what was interesting at the tail end of that replay, you saw a splashdown being used. And what's different about these specials that was utilized so much in tower control in the original version, there's no invincibility specials this time around, Ashley. There's no bubbler.
No Kraken.
There's no Kraken this time.
This is a no Kraken zone, everybody.
You can't just ride that for the final 10 seconds to victory. You've got to be much more offensively minded.
Yeah, this is the thing I love about how this tournament is set up. There is no invincibility. You're not going to be in that position. I know you guys at Ink TV know what I'm talking about. When you see somebody get that, pop a Kraken and ride that tower in, and there is nothing that you can do about it. That is not the case here. They absolutely have every opportunity to be able to take that tower back. And we saw while they were practicing, sometimes they'd retake the tower at 1 and ride it all the way back and take a victory.
Anything can happen. So we just got done with tower control, our first game in this best of 5. That was taken by Dynamon. Let's get set for some splat zones here. It's going to be at Inkblot Art Academy, this new stage that we talked about. And when you get to splat zones, the difference between elite players and players more so getting introduced to the game.
Yeah.
The elite players talk about once you get that splat zone covered, Ashley, you want to treat that splat zone like the floor is lava. You want to get out of there and make sure you've got your ink in there, but then also keep the opposing team and find some positions to flank them from.
That's right. Maybe don't keep all 4 of your teammates inside the splat zone. That's a key strategy for anybody out there.
Let's get this splat zone started on Inkblot Art Academy. Both teams making a push for the zone right now. Dynamon in the blue, Rising Moon in the green. Dynamon going to go with that Splatter Shot Pro.
Up 2.
Slosher, Charger, and the Roller. Meanwhile, you've got Rising Moon in the green with the Charger, Octobrush, Slosher, and Splatter Shot. And also, new to this version here, Ashley, you see the little bar in between the scores? That's going to tell you how much ink is covered in that splat.
I love that, because when you're behind, you can see there's a little set of buildings here, or little blocks here in the middle of the splat zone, and you can't really see what's going on the other side.
Dynamon getting splatted by the splatter shot. Inky putting in some work right there, and it looks like Rising Moon might have the advantage to get the splat zone, but Dynamon not giving it up at all. Inky backing out of the zone right now, trying to cover some more territory, maybe get a push with that special. Has the splashdown ready to go, but no! Wakashino gonna say to that splashdown. Meanwhile, Rising Moon getting the splat. Nobody on the board yet, but there we go. Dynamon getting that counter down to begin with here, Ashley.
Yeah, you can see Wakarun is working it with that charger, getting out, being able to get in, get out, and get back in position. Sometimes you have to get out of position so that you can get away, reset, and start over again.
3:40 left in this one, 67-100 advantage. 4-1 on the field for Dynamon right now. This is a chance to really keep Rising Moon back at the bay as Atubadu holding it down up top. We've got 2 members of Dynamon up top, being patient, waiting. You can now keep Rising Moon in your sights. It's 42-100 at this point. Dynamon having no issues whatsoever in this splat zone and Inkblot Art Academy. We oftentimes talk, Ashley, of all the ranked modes, this is the hardest one to sometimes make a comeback in.
Yeah, this is a tough one to make a comeback in, just because once you establish that you own that splat zone, it is tough to take it back.
Seibu gonna take control of the airspace with that inkjet though, and this could be a huge turn of events if Rising Moon can get the territory.
There they go. That's
a 66-second penalty on Dynamon. That's gonna go ahead and put Rising Moon in this game to give them a chance. However, they've got quite the deficit. It's 83-14, 2:48 left in this one. 4-3 advantage on the field. Rising Moon, that counter's going down right now, Ashley.
And you can see Seibu and Inky are moving forward, trying to even just keep them from getting to that main splat zone, just because, hey, we're going to put down some paint, we're going to keep you from getting here, just so it's going to take you a little bit of extra time so that we can try to make something happen.
Dynamo now in control. They're going to tack on a 35-second penalty to Rising Moon, but they still have to take out a lot of time before their score can improve. 4-3 on the field right now for Dynamo. Wakaroon on top of an ink-proof surface right there, but going to navigate with a little bit of leverage, throw down a splat bomb, keep at base, got some help right there with the teammate. Meanwhile, going to start to creep into Rising Moon territory, looking back and try and zone things out. And right now, Dynamo, no issues whatsoever holding down the splat zone.
No, not at all. I mean, Kakashino just got splatted by Andy with that charger. Andy's really going out there and making stuff happen. But you can see Stingray really popular on this particular map.
4-2 advantage, and you saw from the wide view right there, there weren't any Rising Moon players in the same area code as the splat zone. And that'll do it. Another knockout for Dynamo. Once they re-seize control of the splat zone, they did a fine job of not only having players cover ground horizontally, but vertically at different levels, Ashley.
Yeah, you saw Wakaroon up there just keeping Rising Moon out. And I mean, when you have him, the combo of Wakaroon and Kakashino up top with a slosher, getting anybody who's coming just even barely close to that splat zone, he's just like, nah, I'm just gonna pour paint on. I'm just gonna pour that ink on you and take you out. Goodbye. Go back to the beginning.
And it's interesting on every level. Sometimes we've talked about some teams don't like to hang out in the splat zone too much, but Eric, on this map, when you get the leverage, the highest point in Inkblot Art Academy is at the middle of the map in that splat zone. That gives you a huge advantage as far as seeing where the opposing team's coming from. So in that situation, Dynamo holding it down from the highest point on the map.
Yeah, that high point, because it is so tall, I mean, really the only way to route someone from that is with a charger or to climb it and get up there yourself. So it's actually a pretty safe spot. Usually, as you said, you don't want to hang out in the middle of the splat zone, but because you have that verticality there, you're able to.
But there is also nothing to hide behind up there. So if you're up there, you are wide open to attack. So you definitely want to be careful. But if you're up there, you've got a great vantage point.
And as you mentioned, Jordan, earlier, I mean, we have only 4 specials available in this tournament mode. So what you could do normally is maybe pop, a defensive thing and stay in that splat zone. But here, there's not even any kind of support abilities. Like with the first game, you have your ability that you're able to kind of point out enemy locations, and there's none of that.
Right,
yeah,
no echolocators in this game.
Yeah.
Sometimes people use the Tenta missiles to locate players, and we also saw the Ink Storm a couple times, and we didn't get a chance to break that down quite yet. Tell us about that, Ashley.
I mean, I love the Ink Storm. You set it off, it ends up creating a cloud, and then it moves, and it starts raining ink, and it's so delightful, and it takes people by surprise, and it hurts a little bit.
And it's great because there's no way to get rid of it. It's great for splat zones. You're able to kind of seize control of it if you're able to throw the Ink Storm right onto the splat zone.
We saw Dynamo use 3 Ink Storms in that last match and really help re-seize control of that splat zone in the middle. So as we mentioned, it's now 2-0 Dynamo in this best of 5. They're trying to get their brooms out and look for a sweep as we prepare for Rainmaker on the Reef. And this could be an opportunity for Dynamo to either get the sweep. However, Rising Moon, anything can happen in Rainmaker. This could be a huge victory for them. And as we get to the Reef with Rainmaker, we talk about on these levels, Ashley, there's kind of a conventional route, but then also if you can be a little sneaky squid, there's a little bit of a shortcut at times.
That's right. Sometimes you'll see teams have someone have a designated Rainmaker taker, and then they'll have a support person that follows them, creates lanes, lets them get the job done. You're going to see a lot of toxic mist in this map, I think, and you're going to see a lot of splatting. This is going to get crazy.
Andy getting splatted by Kakashino. However, that Rainmaker shield going to take out Dynamon. Dynamon's good, listen, but there's nothing you can do against a Rainmaker.
Absolutely not. You see that Rainmaker shield getting bigger in the other team's color, you better get out of the way.
Wakaruno doing some work right here, and now the Rainmaker belongs to Rising Moon in the green, Dynamo in the purple. Rising Moon, let's get some housekeeping. They have the Charger, Octobrush, Splatter Shot Pro, and the Blaster. Meanwhile, Dynamo sticking with that Splatter Shot Pro, the Slosher, the Charger, and the Roller right now. 99-0 advantage, so not much of a lead at this point. Both teams really unable to seize control early on right here, Ashley.
Yeah, and you'll see, you'll notice right now what was happening was Dynamo chose to not pick up the Rainmaker right away. They chose to make those one-on-ones, get those splats, and now they can say, okay, we've taken a few people off the field. Let's go in.
Walk in the room with the Rainmaker. And what's different about the Rainmaker, you no longer have that vortex of ink. It's going to be more of almost a ink grenade that gets launched out in front of you. That's going to change the dynamics of moving it around.
Definitely. It doesn't create a lane for you to ride in. And that's sort of the thing now where you need a support person to help you lay down some ink, get some stuff done. And it's also, it's really tough to hit somebody short range with the Rainmaker.
Rainmaker was up for grabs, but it gets returned like a bad sweater to the middle of this map right now as both teams fight this over. 58-99 advantage right now for Dynamo. Not a huge advantage at this point. Both teams really getting a chance to push each other back and forth. However, we've got a 4-2 advantage on the field for Rising Moon, and there goes that little squid at the top.
Yeah, he's going for it.
However, a splat right here is going to put a stop to the Rainmaker as Dynamu's trying to get it, but here goes Seibu, inking that shield with the brush right now. And a splat, however, by the Stingray with Lock on Room.
That Stingray doesn't feel good. That Stingray to the face doesn't feel good at all. Nobody likes that. Autobaro picks up the Rainmaker, but we have an ink storm. I love that storm. It's so great.
That ink storm going to make things a little difficult. There's the cloud, not a forecast that Dynamo wants to deal with right now, but Atubaru right now with the Rainmaker trying to advance. However, excellent charge shot by Andy. Andy putting the brakes on the Rainmaker as right now Rising Moon 35-58 advantage. 4-2 on the field, though, for Dynamo. They can make a little bit of a push as the Rainmaker in the middle of the map here, Ashley.
Yeah, they've got 3 of them right there with the Rainmaker. They're going to try to take out Andy with that charger. I mean, I think that he is the most dangerous man on the field for Dynamo. Oh,
Double splats right here
splats with the Rainmaker.
It is 3-1 on the field. Oh, Wakaroon going to go for the slam dunk. Nothing in his way. However, that splat bomb might get him. No! Wakaroon with DeAndre Jordan to finish it right there. Impressive victory. And we saw it right there, Ashley, the ability of Dynamo to get that double splat deep into Rising Moon territory, and that will conclude it with a sweep.
Yeah, if you're looking down the barrel of the Rainmaker and you've got a teammate next to you, get away from your teammate. Get away from your teammate. Run for it.
The final 15 seconds of this match, so much happening, and you saw Dynamo get to the goal and almost get taken out by a splat bomb, and really being able to navigate those ramps and the verticality, so impressive by Dynamo. You see the team effort right here. Wakaroon gonna back up. Here comes that critical double splat. That's gonna clear the way right there, Eric. And Eric, Wakaroon being very careful. Notice how able to jump over that green ink, the maneuverability we oftentimes like to highlight.
Very, very good. I mean, they really just played it perfectly right at the end there, and being able to take out Andy. I have to give all the credit to Andy for just some really good charger work throughout this whole series.
That will conclude Rising Moon's tournament. They certainly put up a hard-fought battle, but you're starting to see the strength of Dynamo and why they defeated over 900 teams in their tournament, Ashley. And this is a team that is talent-loaded top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they are a very tight-knit, well-oiled machine. I mean, that's the only way I can describe them. And to watch them play, I mean, they get each other.
It's the coordination.
Yeah,
it's really the way they all know the roles and they play them so effectively.
Right.